Welcome to another episode of Just My Baby Daddy podcast. It's your favorite baby daddy AJ, and today we're gonna talk to someone that let's just put it this way: when we grow up, we are afraid of the law, right? Young black boy, lawyers, court, anything to deal with it. I want nothing to do with it at all. And so, as I got older, you start to see like, no, we need that representation. Like we really need the black lawyers because who else is going to help us, right?
Mm.
And not only that, we need the black lawyers that understand young black boys. And for that, we have a black dad that understands the law, a black dad that's involved in the law, a black dad that's one of the top black lawyers. Oh, no, I'm sorry, one of the top lawyers in the state of Texas.
There you
We
go.
have my guy, Mr. Byron Bailey. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I truly appreciate it, man. Appreciate this podcast too, because real raw conversations about fatherhood and black boys is truly important. So appreciate you reaching out.
We're going to just talk this. What makes fatherhood important to you?
I think it's an assignment. One, I think it's because it's an assignment, and two, because as a man, as a Christian man, I'm a Christian man. I look at uh my life and my responsibility and my assignment as the king of my domain. Currently not married, but I still have my domain, and within my domain is my son, my family, my community. I want to make sure everybody's taken care of. So I take extreme pride to not only just take care of my community, but more specifically to be able to germinate a seed in my son to be able to continue to do the same thing and just help proliferate goodness and greatness and righteousness in this world.
Who planted that seed in you? Like, where did you get your fatherhood instincts from?
Man, so my father really wasn't around much, but I got a lot of most of my, if not all of my male leadership from my grandfather, my maternal grandfather.
Your maternal grandfather. So were you raised by him or was he just around?
I wasn't raised by him. I was raised by my mom, strong black mama, and again, just thinking about how our father, thinking about how she mothered, it's insane. But I went to my grandfather's house every other weekend. So every second or fourth weekend, he would pick me and my cousins up, and that's where we got a lot of our discipline and just how I was introduced to Christ as well, and just the male presence.
It's interesting that you brought up the cousin portion with your grandfather because that is something that happened to me as well. Like I didn't have my dad growing up, right? And my cousins, and I think about it, we didn't have our dad. I mean, I know we didn't have our dads. We didn't have our dads growing up. And so when we would go away to the summer, we would go and we would go with our grandparents and go see granddaddy. And so with that aspect, when you have other siblings that don't have, well, not other siblings, but other family members that don't have father figures as well, that grandfather becomes a really, really, really big staple, a huge staple. So when you became a father, did you start having conversations with him?
So the irony is, and the beauty of it is, my grandfather passed away literally when my son was not even 1 years old. Uh, but the beauty of it was, it kind of felt like at the time that my grandfather was able to see, his lineage continue. So he knew he had me, but none of his uh, grandkids had kids. Yeah, yeah. I think my grandson, my grandfather's first great grandson, but he was able to meet him, and then just our relationship, and it was a boy. We never had this conversation before he passed, but I mean that's just kind of how I received it, and we talked about just not being perfect humans, but being the best man you could possibly be. So he got to meet him, but he didn't really. I ain't really get to talk to him about fatherhood and all that good stuff.
Yeah, same here. That is the one. See, my grandfather died before my he died. I think it was a year or two before my daughter was born, and that is one thing that I wish I had spent more time with.
Mm,
Actually, like talking to him about like just being responsible for a family.
yeah,
Like sticking through the tough times, sticking through it all because it's trying times trying to raise a family.
yeah,
Extremely, extremely trying times. And if that was your source of, knowledge and strength, what happens when that walks out the door?
right.
Right. So if that was your example of a father and he's passed away, who do you use as examples now, or who do you rely on now?
For me, I mean, I have a lot of great friends who had children before me that I kind of model myself after. I'm also a nerd, so I'm the type of person that'll read some books, do some research, Google some stuff to try to really figure out, like, am I on the best pathway? And you just model. I think you look at fathers like Prime, Deion Sanders, and how his boys all turned out, and how confident they are. So you just kind of try to emulate that, and also just talking with the other parents that have kids either my age or that are just my friends or the parents in my son's school. Just try to do the best I can and learn as much as I can to be the best father as I possibly can. So that's kind of how I try to pattern my parenting style, if you will.
Right, and so you said you were a little bit of a nerd, right? So you
Yeah,
like to read and things like that. Is that something that you implement into your child as well? Like,
man.
are you big into that? Like a big education buff for your children?
Definitely a big education buff. And again, this past year, my son's one of the best readers in the nation already at 6 years old. However, his math ain't really hitting there. So, and the math ain't hitting because I wasn't doing my job, being as attentive as I should have. And so this summer, we're gonna really work on that math. We're gonna really work on going forward, just being more attentive with the academics. But as far as being a reader, being imaginative, being comprehensive, killing that part. But they gotta work on that math a little bit.
Yeah. So that's interesting that you said like you took responsibility for that. That's
Oh,
not normally that happens. Like, so do you really feel like it's your responsibility to make sure that they do good in school?
oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it does no good, blaming the education system when I can see what he got going on and when I can kind of get a feeling of what he got going on myself. So I just think that had I been locked in a little bit more, a little sooner, I could have saw where he was dropping. And I tried, I did see it, and I had conversations with the teacher who kind of like waved it off. But I gotta. It was less for me to be a little bit more assertive on. I need him to be at this level and show me what they learned this week in the homework or whatever work and make sure we on top of it, right? Like kind of rested a little bit. I don't want to say rested a little bit. I mean he's in kindergarten, so I didn't know how
Yeah.
serious. But think I feel like he could be because again, before he started school, he was super advanced. When he got to school, I kind of put the trust in the school to do the educating, which you're supposed to. But I still got my job at home, so a great lesson to learn this past year. But we got it early, so we're gonna fix it.
Okay. So you put your trust in the education system then,
Well,
right?
so yeah, I mean, I'm a public school kid, um, and I mean, all I know is what I know, and so uh, for the most part, yeah. But I do know I need to get in on making sure he need to know what he need to know and going that route.
Knocking it. I was in private school for half a year in high school.
Yeah,
Didn't work. I mean, it just wasn't for me, right? But
yeah,
we talk about trusting systems and we trust in the education system, but we're black men, right? We
right,
talk about a system that we don't trust.
right,
That is the criminal justice system,
right.
right? And as a father, do you view things differently now than you did previously as far as like maybe any injustices or anything like that? Like that could really be my son out there now. Like, does that hit you a little differently now that you have children?
Yeah, it does, and I say that as a person who grew up in these neighborhoods, but it really, for me, as a father and as an attorney, so I'm a firm believer of the law and the history of the law and the importance of having laws in our society. And again, not unjust laws, but equal application of the laws that are on the books. Because if they're not equally applied, then they're not laws. But with my son, being 6 years old, there's a lot I can't control in that regard. I mean, I going back to do I trust the education system? I mean, it's for me to choose whatever system to be a part of, and I got to do the research on that and feel good in that, in the doctrine in that, right? So again, I could trust a little bit, but trust but verify, if you will, right? So if you talking about counseling my baby, I'm gonna need to know like what's going on in them counseling sessions, what you teaching them, and I'm all for therapy for everybody, but a lot of times, especially at this early age, you don't want to be indoctrinated one way or the other too soon. Again, when you have authorities in that space, you don't want to allow them to create that sort of authority to kind of control, where your sons and
Yeah.
brain. going, you know. So that's kind of how I look at it to be again part of the king of the kingdom, and knowing that I have a child that can't make decisions for himself, it's my duty to protect him from being misled or led astray to the best of my ability, you know. So that's kind of how I look at the, you know, injustices and protect him and that type of thing.
Well, not just protecting him though, but like, you know, for example, when I had my daughter and we started watching the Olympics, I never cared about the Olympics, like the gymnast. I watched it or whatever, but when she got right there and started flipping in front of me, like mimicking them, it's like, okay, maybe I pay attention. Maybe little things affect me more. I pay attention to this more because I realize she's looking up and she's coming up to this.
Right.
Does any of that happen with you? Like in that situation?
Like what? Like he sees something on TV that he want to do, or
No. So from the perspective of, well, I'll stress that. Let's take it off of necessarily just your son, just seeing your son doing something, right?
yeah,
But like you can start to see your son in these kids type of thing. Like when I saw that little girl on TV, then I saw my daughter do it. It's like, okay, I could see that in
yeah,
with her. But
yeah,
now when you're at trial and you see like these, like before you may have seen these teenage kids, like for me, kind of when I go to the mall, before I or I'm driving, I'll see somebody taking forever to put their kid in the car. It's like I have no tolerance, no patience, no understanding. Get out of here. Cause I didn't
right,
have
right, right, right. Yeah, yeah.
that perspective.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I mean, I think it's extremely important. So I mean, again, I grew up. I tell people all the time, I grew up like the poorest president to this day, poorest president I've ever met. But what I also kind of balance that with is what we lacked in finances. Again, with my mom and my grandfather, we made up with love. So, but again, I'm from the same slums. No, you know, how people just live, right? And it just, you know, I'm a firm believer that, you know, it's culturally based, and it's society based, and it's resource based on the situation that a lot of people be in. But it's kind of hard for people who've never been, you know, who have never wore that skin, who've never been in those sort of situations, to really see that. And so when I see trouble, you know, not even trouble youth, but youth getting in, quote unquote getting in trouble, right?
Yeah.
It's more or less okay, you always got to start from how did we get into this situation? Like how did whatever situation get there? And not necessarily an accusation of wrongdoing or malfeasance by the person that's being alleged to have done something, but it's more so just an understanding of this person's background and the societal conditions. And also, one thing I took from being a child and now being a father, I remember being a kid, and you probably remember this too, where like, you know, your mama, you get in trouble at school, and the teacher, you know, I don't want to say the teacher lied on you, but the teacher maybe have got some facts wrong,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. And so they tell your mama, you know, I'm like, mama, like, you know, that ain't really what happened. That may, and you don't know how to articulate it because um, and so so stuff like that, like obviously I'm very cognizant of with my own personal son, but it kind of goes into my legal practice as well. So I practice personal injury car wrecks, but it's the same thing. It's not criminal, but it's a lot of folks on the defense side, on the insurance side, thinking that, you know, if somebody getting a wreck, oh, they fake it. You know, you see like Ezel on Friday, my neck, my back, and everybody thinks that everybody, oh,
Yeah.
they faking. But I tell people who are my client, one, I don't like, I'm truly about, you know, justice and getting what you've owed. And you are owed, you know, compensation under law for these damages. And the only way we can get that if we have the evidence of those damages. And like, you know, you can't really, you can start off trying to fake it, but after a while, if I catch wind of it, but after a while, you just won't be able to do it for so long because it's hard to fake true pain, you
Yeah.
know. But to go back to the question, uh, insurance companies think everybody faking, and so when I have a case, I'm like, I got to show this insurance company why they faking, and then it's also like, insurance company, you got all this money, you paying all these premiums, so when it's time to do something, like go ahead and pay up. And so that would bother me as well for people to kind of diminish, you know, the true pain that black people go through, and also just diminishing the value their loss of earning capacity, right? Their earning capacity and how how some things affect them differently because they're of a different community. And so yeah, so it's little stuff like that, that I definitely practice everyday activism to make sure that the people that I can protect again within my kingdom, within my influence, that they get the full justice that they deserve. But I'm really big on everyday activism and really pulling the story that may not, another person may not see because they never been a part of it, but subjectively,
Yeah.
that's how we assess these type of situations.
Okay. And you talk about you're big on you spending a lot of time doing this stuff, right?
Yeah,
And you're big on mentorship.
yeah,
So you find time to do all of this and also be a father. So
yeah,
how do you balance your time? Because being a lawyer takes a ton of time.
yes,
Then you have your mentorship program.
yes,
And you all of those things are important, but the most important thing is that little thing at home. How do you
yeah,
make sure that you have that everyone else does not take your energy? Because
yeah.
the energy you need the most is for the one at home.
So I'm blessed in that regard because one, I put my son first too. But even above that, my mom was so present. Like I said, what we didn't have in finances, I had in support and love as a child. So my mom was always, on a PTA, board and, getting me involved in extracurricular activities and all that stuff. And again, she was a single mother and I don't know how she did all this crazy stuff too. But I also understand that like I've been able to amass a few resources to be able to put me in positions that my mama wasn't even in. And so if my mama could do it with nothing, I could do it with a little bit. And so, and I have my own law firm now, which is one
Mhm.
of why I have my own law firm. So can't nobody tell me when and where I need to be. I make my own schedule and I do my own things and I hire a team to again within that even within that kingdom to make sure that everything is running smoothly, that all my clients are taken care of, and make sure that all my employees are taken care of, but also to do so in a manner that allows me to have time to take care of my own home as well. So I'm not a slave to the clock in that regard, but I'm also really good and really resourceful at what I do. So I have a great team around me that can handle I pretty much transfer my knowledge, using that skill to leverage to kind of handle that, but also similarly to just make sure that if my son, if there's a PTA something going on, if there's a award ceremony, like I will always be there. And that's one thing he's gonna always know that I'm always. It's if they allow the parents to be there, I'm gonna be the parent that's gonna be there. But also even outside of the school sense, um, you know, bedtime, try to get at least an hour a day for sure. That we just get FaceTime, touching, talking, doing something. And since we've been working on math lately, it's gonna be flashcards. Like we're gonna do some flashcards. You're
Yeah.
gonna write some stuff out. But again, it's not the most fun. He don't always have the most fun.
Yeah.
I make sure he get that fun in as well. So I try. Short answer is just be intentional about it.
Okay. And I said a mentorship, but we didn't really get into the mentorship. So do you want to speak on your mentorship program that you're in as well? Well, that you're a part of as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. So I don't have a mentorship program myself, and I also, as you kind of alluded to, like I am very tapped in and pulled a lot of different ways. So I just tap in with a lot of different youth mentor programs, and so what I kind of try to do is use my network and my connections to present other groups of Black men to kind of supplement and speak at other youth mentor programs, or if someone else reach out to me, I'll do that as well. And so that's kind of my thing. But again, I pop in, I try to speak, I do those types of things, have mentor connections as well. And that goes from middle school, high school, uh, all school mentees, even younger lawyers, or even I don't want to say younger lawyers, but just co-peers. Like we kind of all co-peer mentor and talk to each other, help each other out. Man, I truly believe in if you take care of your people, they'll take care of you. And I truly believe in like serving, having a servant spirit
Yeah.
and having a being a king of a castle, just having a duty to make sure that your people are taken care of. So that's kind of how I like it. Oh, and then financially, I try to help out as well. Because I remember being on little league football teams and not nobody having money, and my mama not having the money, and so and just entrepreneurship, business, leveraging space to kind of bring that energy, that mindset to smaller organizations that may not even consider the possibility of the amount of resources they can pull from. I try to be that liaison between the community and like the untapped resources that the community may not be aware of.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. that is really great. And so I got two more things I really want to get to before I get you out of here.
for sure.
One is we always ask, advice for up and coming fathers or current fathers based off of, the conversation that we have. And for you, I have this because I have a couple of lawyer friends as well, right? And they really struggle with decompressing what happens at work from when they come home. So, my question to you is, what advice would you give to someone that really tries to struggle separating the stresses of the day, because what you do is definitely a stressful day, and being a calm source at the house?
Yeah, I mean, I recently had this conversation with a friend, 'cause I struggle with this as well, even over this past year, and as I say this out loud, I'm kinda ministering to myself, but it's also I think it's about, one, having faith in what your goals are, right? I think a lot of people go to these jobs and, look for kinda like, I don't wanna say depend on the job, but, it's a chore. They make their job a chore, not necessarily their job be a step on the wrong to the path that they really trying to go. And so what I ended up doing is, because I started my own firm, like I had all these goals, and I'm hustling, 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 and I remember I started making a little bit of money, but I was like still in the same grind, still in the same hustle, and still had the same sort of frustration. And so it's like it's not about the money, right? So it's not really about the money, but it's more so it's about, okay, how can I kind of, again, decompress and really analyze like what I'm doing here. And so it's about respecting and appreciating that, one, that you are human, that two, that one, you are doing the best that you can really do, and trusting, truly just trusting your dopeness. I know for me, like, I truly believe that I'm the best at what I do. And so if I can't come up with the answer, if I feel a certain way, if I'm feeling fatigued, if I'm feeling, whatever, I can't come up with it, right? It's not that I didn't do a good job. It's not that I'm really missing something. It's that maybe I just need a break. Or even if I do miss something, right, that's okay because I'm human too. Um,
Yeah.
it's kind of like you got to remove the pressure of always performing, and accepting, one, that again, you are good at what you do, and you are trying hard at what you do. And sometimes things might not work out, but again, even that could be just a realignment, or a yeah, or a learning step in that moment. But if you go through your whole life like stressed out about what's going on in the future, you never get to enjoy the present moment, right? And that's how you end up, you know 45, 50, 60, and kind of wishing you took more time to spend to enjoy the life that you
Yeah.
live. So that's kind of how I look at it.
Man, that's true. And I got one more thing, because you say you I can tell you're a deep thinker, right? So I don't know if you've thought about this one or not,
Okay.
but what would you want your legacy to be as a father?
I think just to be a servant, be seen as a Christian man. And again, when I say a Christian man, not necessarily all holy and pious and mighty, because I'm far from that. I'm far from that. But a person who lived a life like Christ, who tried to be there of service, try to help folks. And again, I don't even mean, I don't, not to even get too religious and about the background and all that stuff, but just the biblical person that we have, the person that was a selfless servant, showing up, helping folks, doing all those types of things, and just a bit wise, a teacher. That's kind of how I want to be. But also, I think ultimately is to be a man of humanity, and for that to kind of spread through my son, and kind of help make the world a better place in that. And what I mean by be a man of humanity, again, I think we're all human. We all make mistakes. We all have our own shortcomings. But ultimately, the light that I want to live, the light that I want to shine, I should say, is that we're all human. We all have some sort of connectivity. And so if we learn to respect and appreciate each other for just being human, being shared of the same species first, I think that, we could see the empty in other folks and want to take care of other folks, and see how that karma kind of spins around. So that's kind of been my main, life and energy that I kind of focus on, is just to, you know, be a gentle servant and be forgiving, and again, just try to bring peace, joy, and happiness to anybody I meet.
Well, from all I know about you so far, and from the conversation we had and just talking offline, like, you've already been doing that. So if you
Appreciate
continue doing what you're doing, you're gonna leave the legacy that you want to live. So I appreciate you taking the time today, man.
For sure, man. I appreciate the invite, dog. I truly
Episode of Just My Baby Daddy podcast. I know you liked what you saw. So what I need for you to do is go back and look at past episodes. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share our YouTube page, Just My Baby Daddy Podcast. And you can follow us on all social media at Just My Baby Daddy Pod.